for what they said to each other during the debate and after. And frankly, I did not expect either one of them to apologize. And that's a good thing because, they're supposed to be more conservative. And conservatives, just because you say you're sorry doesn't really mean that you are. And I'm tired of all this mamby-pamby, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. Oh, bullcrap. Megyn Kelly meant to go after Trump, and she's not apologizing for it because she meant to do that. Donald Trump meant to fully and completely and thoroughly insult Megyn Kelly, and he's not backing down from that. They both did what they fully intended to do. So why should they apologize for being themselves? Megyn Kelly can't help herself. I mean, if you've ever seen any of her news programs, even the Kelly File before the Kelly, well, she was on some other Fox programs before the Kelly File. She was very aggressive. You can agree with the questions or not. You can agree with her tact or not. But she's always been, as far as from the day that I can first remember, a few years ago, she's always been an aggressive type of reporter, I guess. Is that what you call them? I wouldn't say that she's a journalist. I don't know if she is or isn't. I really don't watch her that often. But she's always been very aggressive. And frankly, if you're going to go after the Donald, who is also very aggressive, very brash, very big, and very bold, you've got to be a bit tough and brash and bold yourself. You can't be wimpy. And frankly, Megyn Kelly, you can say whatever else you want to say about her, but that woman ain't wimpy. She is not a wimpy woman. Absolutely. And I know some people are going to say, well, are you calling her masculine? Absolutely not. And Megyn Kelly's well, I shouldn't say feminist, but she's feminine. But she's a tough feminist, if that's conservative feminist, if that's what you want to. Well, she's not. I don't know her personal politics, but as far as her reporting and what she does and says, I wouldn't exactly classify her as a full constitutional conservative. She might be, but just based on her TV persona, I would say that that's not the case. But maybe she tries to be a bit more fair and balanced, and that's why she comes across as being a little bit more less than constitutional conservative. But if she's gonna, she's a tough, brash woman. She's rather easy on the eyes too. At least I think so. And I'm not a huge fan of blondes, but I think she's easy on the eyes. And that's not being sexist. And I know some of you lefties out there, political correct idiots, are probably going to say that, oh, that's being sexist, right? No, it's not. Megyn, I'm a guy. She's a girl. I can recognize beauty when I see it. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it. She's a pretty lady. She really is. And, she's got some brains in her head that she uses. Kind of strange for a blonde. Aren't blondes all supposed to be ditzy? Ditzy blonde. Well, you know what? She's on the right side of the political aisle. So therefore, she's not going to be ditzy. It seems all the blonde ditzes are on the left side of the political aisle. Hey, Democrats, I'm sorry. You guys have you've got the lock and key, it seems like, on ditziness. Really, it really is. But they're not apologizing to each other. I don't expect them to. In fact, if they did, I would probably respect the one who apologized less. And I kind of respect them both more for standing their ground. You can say what you want. Maybe Megyn Kelly was wrong. I don't necessarily think so. And, they have this, there's always this notion, well, she just said it wrong. Well, that's a bunch of bullpucky. Why do you have to look? I don't tiptoe around issues. If somebody doesn't like the way I said something, well, for the most part, if it's not a personal issue, 101 personal, it has nothing to do with the profession or anything, business. If it's just personal, then that's a different story. But if it's anything but personal and somebody doesn't like the way I said it, I just say too damn bad. That's not my problem or my issue. Just like if I don't like the way somebody else says something and it says something in a professional, non-personal manner, that's not necessarily their problem. That's mine. Well, if they want to be a little bit bigoted, that's a different story. But that's personal. That's not a professional type of thing. But I don't get into this. Well, you got to say you're sorry every time you offend somebody. Oh, hell no. I'm not going to apologize for it. You know what? I've always looked at it this way. I have always said, if I don't offend somebody, I am probably not doing my job. Plain and simple. If I don't offend somebody, I'm not doing my job. And I don't go out there to try to fully, try on purpose to fully offend someone. But I know that my beliefs and what I espouse is going to offend a lot of people on the left. Oh, it's going to offend a lot of people in the center. And I don't apologize for that. If you are offended by what I say, well, if I'm telling the truth and I'm coming from a place of historical fact and logic and you are still offended, that's not my problem. You got to check yourself on that one. So I think Meghan and Donald checked themselves and they said, you know what? They said to each other, not my problem if you're offended. And yeah, they both were offended by what each other did and said to each other. Absolutely. For them to say that they're not, they were offended. Probably rightfully so. But that's the game of politics, and both of them are grown-ups, and both of them are they're tough, and they can handle it. And, you have all these people running around out there trying to defend Meghan or defend Donald. And I'm like, you know what? They don't need your defense, really. Just as the comes across from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air all those years ago, mind your business. That's all. Mind your business, because those two will straighten out whatever differences they may have, and maybe they won't. But they don't need us out there to defend them. Not these two. Absolutely not. They really don't. Anyway, folks, we got a lot of other stuff to discuss this evening. Got some Hillary stuff. Yeah, we're going to talk about some Hillary stuff. Scott Walker's speaking of offending people. Scott Walker and Hillary got into a little tit for tat today. We'll talk about that. But there's something that's kind of interesting that I heard today about Rick Perry. Now, Rick Perry has stopped paying his staff. Now, if he does that, that means only one thing, that his campaign is running out of money. And he's running out of money because nobody's backing him. And nobody's backing him, and I've said this, is because he's gone into this wimpy, mamby-pamby, moderate type of position. And he was constantly trying to, well, this is not how you act as being president. You're not presidential, Donald Trump. And he was ripping into Donald Trump left and right while ignoring the polls of people, people supporting the Donald and liking what he said. And that was a death knell for Rick. I got to tell you, Rick, I'm not so sure that Rick Perry, and I'm probably going to get some hate mail for this, but I got to tell you, I'm not so sure. I don't know why Rick Perry got into the race. I don't think his heart was in it. He always looked like he was tired. I mean, and not from running a very tough, hard campaign. He just looked like he was tired. He looks like he's tired. Like he just wants to retire. and get out of the public limelight or what have you. Maybe just do a few speeches here and there, possibly earn $500,000 like the Clintons per speech. But I just don't think that his heart was in this campaign. I really, really don't. Now, I could be wrong, but just by listening to him and seeing his facial expressions and paying attention to some of his appearances, when he's out in public, the man just looked tired, like his heart was, and his responses to Trump, that really wasn't Rick Perry 4 and 8 years ago. I don't know where this Rick Perry came from. That's why I say I think he's just tired. I think he's just politically and mentally fatigued. And I am sure I'm going to offend some people out there, but you know what? Too damn bad. That's not my problem. I call it like I see it. Now, will this mean the end of the Perry campaign? Well, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Will Perry be the first one to drop out? At this particular juncture, I am not going to try to determine that. Because it really doesn't matter who drops out first. It really doesn't matter who drops out last. Because we're going to end up with a candidate that we end up with, no matter who it is, we're going to have one. So it really doesn't matter who leaves the race first. Now, whoever leaves first may shock some people and may not shock others. But there's a couple of, I'm not going to say who they are, there's a couple of candidates that I would not be shocked if they were to leave first. I got to tell you, well, I can tell you one. I already said it. I think Rick Perry is on that list, is on that short list of being first to leave. And again, like I said, I could be wrong. I just think the man is tired. He doesn't seem to have the same fire in the belly that he once had. And so I don't, with the campaign, maybe he had to, because with campaign laws the way they are, and what you're supposed, how you can get your hands on the money for personal use after after you no longer campaign, maybe he had to run it and use up the money somehow. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know what was in his mindset. But there is something out there from the Perry camp. What's actually happening is Opportunity and Freedom, I guess, is a PAC, steps in to carry Perry's payroll load. And this is actually from the IJReview.com. Rick Perry's campaign has stopped paying staff, but a super PAC will pick up the slack. Welcome to the Wild West of presidential campaigns in 2016. Well, this is what McCain-Feingold gave us, so it's not really the Wild West. Now, the pro-Perry super PAC, Opportunity and Freedom, will run ads and a ground game for Perry, so his campaign can be mean and lean. Whatever that means. You can't, if you're going to win something, you can't be lean. You can be mean, but you can't be lean. But candidly, says Austin Barber, a super PAC advisor, he told IJ that candidly we saw the campaign finance report a couple of weeks ago and knew, he said, we sort of read the writing on the wall. We knew that we had to move forward and do our own thing. So they're going to be out there campaigning for Perry, as it were, for Mr. Perry. Poor guy. But you know what? I'm sorry. I think he's mentally, he's probably not physically fatigued. He's fairly, his 60s, right? Fairly young guy. I just think he's mentally and politically tired. I think he's mentally and politically exhausted. And I don't think that, he was really into running in the first place. And maybe people talked him into it. Hey, run, Rick, run. And he thought, okay, I'll give it one more college try. But giving it a college try really doesn't mean that your heart is into it. And he'll be back, but somehow I doubt it.